Hey everybody, Carrie Cox here. I am coming to you from my office. I am doing a lot of reflecting today on the body and what we put in the body and how that generates the results we have. Everything that you do for your body is a result of where you're at right now. So if I have a lot of emotional negative impacts on my body, that could be because of the things that I'm putting in toxicity wise to my body that's imbalancing my bacteria, or it's feeding the negative bacteria or the bad bacteria, and they are putting out neurotoxins, they're putting that other toxicity out to the body. I've realized that we generically are feeding stuff to our body that didn't even used to be a thing. I'd actually had a discussion with my husband while we were driving, and he was asking me some things of like, okay, so why do people who may be older, who have eaten a lot of plant-based, not have some of these problems that we say are issues with people now that are eating plant-based? Well, back in the day, they weren't doing spraying of the toxins on the fields, the glyphosate. The soils were much more rich back then. But what we have now is years and years and years of spraying chemicals to kill off things. We've genetically modified a lot of the plant foods themselves, and they've all been done for good purpose of being able to harvest more, to make more money for the farmers, to be able to feed more people. But the problem is that we jump in to doing these things prior to really understanding the full effects of how it's going to impact the body. And then, years later, and most things, it takes about at least 10 years before we're actually going to know the effects. So just right now, we're now coming out with a new vaccination for the coronavirus. Well, truly to understand how it's going to impact people, it's going to be 10 years before then. And by then, most people probably will have gotten it, or, well, maybe not. There's a lot of controversy over that, but there will be a lot of people who have had it and they may be finally experiencing something. And then we try to go back and do the correlations of all those things and how it impacts everything. So a lot of things that we've introduced anymore are a big factor as to why we are having the problems we're having. Food additives. We have gone from, in my lifetime, we've gone from eating with things that we were getting or we were getting locally to everybody being in a rush. We eat out of a box, a can, a bag, a restaurant, and a lot of things that are sent to the restaurant are actually also coming from a box, a bag. They've needed all these things added to it to preserve it, to keep it fresh so that by the time you get it, you can have fresh food. But a lot of those chemicals and things that we're putting in there to preserve it are having negative impact on our gut bacteria, our digestive system. We have sugar in pretty much everything, and sugar impacts the ability of the acidity within the stomach. So now to unravel proteins, to break apart minerals, things like that is very difficult. And people now are having to supplement that, or it's causing the amount of people that are doing antacids and having heartburn is huge. I don't think I see a patient anymore that doesn't have heartburn of some degree. And then they go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, you got too much acidity, it's burning your esophagus. We got to go in and get rid of it. And nobody's taking into the factor that getting rid of that acidity means you can't rebuild your organs and systems if you don't have those amino acids. Not to mention, we can't break open the minerals, which is really impacting our mood and metabolic activities otherwise. Then we all start craving sugar more. Our body's trying to lead us by cravings of the bacteria that we're housing, that we're rebuilding, not to mention what it can actually digest. If you can't break down proteins and fats because you have an acidity balancing issue, you're going to crave sugar because sugar will give you that instant, and it takes very little to be able to digest that. So we're creating our own imbalances, and we do so on a regular basis. And most of us walk and are blindly led by our doctors, who actually, your doctors have been trained to put you back together, to keep you alive when you're dying. But those are drastic circumstances. They are not trained in nutrition. What do I take what do these organs need to rebuild? What do I take to balance these hormones within my body? Instead, we are giving more chemicals, more things that are kind of throwing that imbalance even more so. It's a very simple thing, and people struggle when they come to me because I can give a simple concept of how we're going to nourish and rebuild and how that can impact all these things that they feel are very severe health issues. And their doctors are saying that's never going to work. And they're saying that's never going to work. That's too simple. If I could just eat these things, I will be fine. There's no way. But I've had many go through the process with me and have been able to avoid being put on medications for the rest of their life that makes them miserable. I even had a patient that came in, which I did on my website, the UtahFoundationalNutrition.com. She had issues with trigeminal neuralgia. Most people get put on seizure medication, can end up with brain surgery. She was able to start breaking down her fats, nourishing. She found that her bowel movements became regular, which helps with getting rid of toxicity. She's now not having any massive pain. Like, she was to the point where it was so massive that she would shudder in pain and wasn't able to function because just something touching her face, even heat or cold, would stimulate nerve pain. And that was a very difficult thing for her. And I will tell you that most people will tell you there's no way to nourish that, no way to rebuild and do things for that. Things are difficult, yes, but when you can find the deficiencies or the toxicity and you can help support the body in alleviating that, you can do great things that way. It's just so simple most of the time. It's complicated yet simple. And so people overlook it and go right into medicating. And they have a little faith because they see people that do what I do as essential oil pushers. Oh yeah, just use essential oil, it will cure everything. No. Or just kind of quacky things. And I can get why people see that. I've seen plenty of people who have even misled people with that. But really, when you can get to digesting properly and fixing the nutritional imbalances and deficiencies, there's so many things you can do. My mother is another testament. I had pretty much my first YouTubes of this was her. She just hit 3.5 years of life. The doctors gave her a year to live. Yes, she's doing medical things, but she's also seeing me, and I'm helping to support her organs nutritionally and her body nutritionally. And you would see my mother and not realize that she's a stage 4 cancer survivor that has been told she should be dead by now, but she is thriving and living and happy, and you would never know. She takes and does the things, and I'm working hand in hand. I'm not saying that you should never take doctor's advice. Like I said, doctors will keep you alive. That's their specialty, is keeping you alive when you break yourself or when you have extreme disease. My job is to help you nutritionally support yourself so the disease that comes from a deficiency or toxicity, I can help you with supporting the organs to alleviate that. I can help you with restoring balance within the body and bringing these things back. I know a lot of people struggle with that concept, but I work hand in hand with a lot of people and their doctors. My specialty is supporting you and nutritionally helping you to rebuild and look at the diet and where things may be causing a deficiency and where we can balance those things out and where we can get that food in. And if you're not willing to change the diet, my job is to meet you where you're at, and I will recommend supplements that you can take, whole food supplements that are not creating another imbalance in there. I'm not giving you something synthetic that the body can't do anything with. Anyway, if you find that you're in this need, or you find that there's something that's happening and you want that support, you can go to my website, UtahFoundationalNutrition.com. You can take a survey and have a phone call. Those two things you can do free. You can sign up for one of my programs where I can work with you throughout the month and supporting you. You can text me, I can text you back. I can give you ways to eat. I can write out nutritional plans. I can do supplement plans. If you are someone who's out there that feels that there's no hope and you've lost all hope, I'm here to tell you there's always hope. Even in the situation with my mother where she was in stage 4, I mean, it was a very sad time. We had all prepared ourselves. The fact that she may be passing away, but yet she's still here with us. And not only is she here with us living, she's thriving. And that's the life you want to live. Life is worth living if you're able to function and move about and live a happy life, not being taken a medication that's making you miserable and unable to function and a ton of side effects. So if I can help you in any way, you can even reach out and ask me questions. If you're not sure if this is something I can help you with, you can go to the website, you can scroll down, there's an area where you can fill out some information and submit it to me, and I can get back in contact with you. But you are worth it. 2021 is going to be amazing for everybody who wants to take their health into their own hands. There is no reason you need to live in fear of everything around you. You need to build your immune system, build your bacteria, build your body, understand the factors around you and what you need to do to keep those at optimal. I'm not a person to come in and say you have to cut everything out over here, but there are factors if you want to keep things in your life that are not necessarily healthy, that may be causing problems. You have to support in other ways, whether it's supplementing or adding other things to the diet to balance those things out. It's all about balance. 2021 is all about balance, all about helping everyone get into a good place with their health and hitting their goals. So let me help you. Check out my website. I also am always adding things there for informational purposes so people can learn. I have blogs on there that help you learn. I try to post on my accounts, Roxy Gym Rat Nutritionist on Facebook, and I think it's under my name now for my Instagram. It's either Roxy Gym Rat 76 or Carrie L. Cox BSC. Look it up. Great tips, great help. If you need more personal help or wanting to do that, hit me up that way too. 2020, it's our year of health.